In this video, I'm going to talk about how you can install WordPress themes automatically. Themes are what WordPress call the template for your WordPress blog. So it's the general appearance of the site is governed by the theme. To add a new theme to your WordPress blog, come over here to where it says Appearance, and it opens up here on Themes. And you've got two tabs here, Manage Themes and Install Themes, and you can see the current theme displayed here. So click on the Install Themes tab, and you can either search the themes that are on the wordpress.org site, upload them from your hard drive, and so on. What I'm going to do here is actually search for one on the WordPress site, and it'll automatically link to it. Let's say I want one that's green. I can filter them out by colors if I want as well, but I'll just do this way so you can see the types of themes that you get. So click on search, and you can see here we have a wide variety of different themes. Whole lot there. Okay, the one that I'm going to install is this one here, Greener Side. So I can preview it by clicking here, and you can see it opens up this little pop-up window to give me an idea as to what the theme will look like. I'll just close that. I'll go ahead and install it. So just click here on the install link, and then click Install Now. And there we go, that's all installed. I just need to click here to activate it. There we go, and then if I go back to the themes, there we are. We've got here, it's all set now as the current theme. So if I go ahead and preview it, what I can do, I just open a new tab and go to the main page. And there we go. You can see here we've got the new theme installed, and all it takes is a couple of mouse clicks to get it all installed.
One of the great things about WordPress is the Wysiwyg Editor for composing your posts. In many themes, however, you'll notice the style of your post's content in the editor does not match the style of that post on a published page. Starting with version 3, WordPress made it easy to add your own CSS styles to the Wysiwyg Editor. This means you could make the editor match the published page. However, many themes, new and old, don't take advantage of this functionality. Let's see how you can edit any theme to make the styles in your Wysiwyg Editor match the styles on your published page. For this example, we'll use the type-based theme. This is an attractive theme, but it's older and does not support editor style sheets. The first thing we'll do is add a new file to the theme folder. The file needs to be named editor-style.css. We'll open the file, and let's also open the theme's main style sheet, simply style.css. Before we add any styles to our new editor style file, let's open the functions file, also found inside the theme folder. At the bottom of the functions file, we need to add one line so this theme will support that style sheet we just added. Add editor style tells WordPress to look for the editor style CSS file in the theme folder. Next, make sure to create a test post on your site that contains most of the elements you intend to use. Here we've created one that has paragraph, heading 2, heading 3, use as many of the headings you think you'll use on your site. We're using an unordered list. You probably should add the ordered list as well. We also have the block quote. You need all the elements you think you're going to use on your site. Now let's look at the theme's style CSS file and copy all selectors that target just the base HTML tags. These are usually found at the top of your CSS file. We'll copy those and paste them into our editor style file. Save. The next thing we need to do is look for the align center, left, and right styles. We'll need those for any images. Let's copy, paste, and save. Now let's view the live published post of your test page, and we will use a tool like Firebug to look under the hood. In Safari, Chrome, and IE, there are other developer tools that let you do the same thing. We're going to use the HTML inspector. We can use this element selector tool to look at the CSS and HTML behind any of these elements. We're interested in the content of the post. Note that at the top is the title of the post, which we cannot style in the post editor, so let's just forget about the title. Use the element selector and select the first element that's in the content of your test post. Click it. In my case, it's a paragraph. You see it here on the HTML side, and on the right side we see the CSS styles assigned to that element. Here we see the only styles are those base HTML tag styles we've already added to our editor style sheet, so we don't need to make any additions. Now use the element selector to click the next element in your test post content. In our case, it's a heading 2. You see the H2 here on the HTML side, and on the right side we see all of the CSS leading up to the styles for that element. Toward the bottom of this pane we see all of the generic styles that were added to the base HTML tags, but as we get to the top we may find more specific rules. In this case, the theme styled H2s that are inside the post content element with a specific font size and line height. We need to get these into our editor style sheet. Let's right click on the selector, copy style declaration, and then get over to our editor style CSS. At the bottom, let's add a new rule for H2, paste in what we copied, and save. Now continue to use the element selector to go through all different elements in your test post. The next one we have not seen is an image. Let's click the image. The image tag is highlighted on the HTML side, but notice it's wrapped in an anchor tag, and we have not yet visited anchor tags. So click the anchor tag on the HTML side. We see the styles on the right side. Here are the generic styles we don't need to worry about. They're already added to our editor sheet, but here is a specific style for anchors wrapped in an element classed with post content. So we're going to need that. Let's right click the selector, copy style declaration, and get into our editor style CSS file to add it. Anchor tag, paste in the rule, and save. Notice we did not add the post content class selector in front of the anchor tag or the H2 from earlier. Let's see why. If we use the element selector to select the topmost element in the post content, then we can look on the HTML side and trace it up to find what element contains all of the post's content. In this theme, it's a div with the class post content. You see on the CSS side, that's the origin of this class selector post content that we've already seen twice. If we look on the edit post screen using the element selector, select that same first element, then in the HTML view, trace that back up to find what element contains all of this content in the editor. We find it's the body element. It has an ID and it has some classes, but those don't really matter. What matters is the body element directly contains all of the content. That makes the body element the same as this div that's classed with post content. So we don't actually need post content when we add these editor style rules. Let's finish the styles for that image. Element selector, click the image. The image element is selected on the HTML side. Let's have a look at the styles on the right side. Align right, those sort of things are already taken care of, but we have two new rule sets right here. Let's look at the one that first is wrapped in post content. Right click, copy the style declaration, go back to our editor style sheet. This is for image that's inside post content. We just discussed why we don't need to put post content in front of this selector. Now the one up here, this is a set of rules for any image that's classed with align right. So we need this whole thing, image and the align right class. So let's right click and we'll do copy rule declaration. That copies this whole block so we can simply paste it in there. Back to our editor style sheet, paste it. There's the whole thing. So we just added all images that are in our editor pane will get this style, and all images that are set align right will also get this style. Let's have a look at one more different element and then I'll leave you be. The element selector, let's go down to this unordered list here. We just selected on one of the list items. You see that here, the list item is selected in the HTML pane. But first let's go to the list itself, which may have styles. Click the UL tag for unordered list. We see the styles on the right. Indeed, we have some specific styling. Two specific rule sets here. Let's start with the bottom one that specifies a rule for any ordered list or unordered list that is inside a post content element. So let's right click and do copy rule declaration. Back to our style sheet, we paste it in there. Now remember, we don't need post content, so I'll just take that out. We actually need to not have post content, so don't think about leaving that in. So now all ordered lists or unordered lists in the editor will have this line height applied. Then we have this rule that's more specific. It's just for unordered lists. Add some padding. Let's right click, copy the declaration, and again paste it into our editor sheet. Styles. Get rid of post content. We're good to go. Now we've styled both ordered and unordered lists, and then here we gave something specific for unordered lists. We just styled the unordered list as a whole, but we do need to visit the list items themselves, which may have styles. Here the list item is selected. We go to the style side, see some generic stuff here, but there is indeed a specific rule set for list items that are inside unordered lists that are inside a post content element. So let's copy that whole rule declaration, go to our style sheet file for the editor, paste it in. Now let's get rid of that post content class part that we don't need. Now we have a very specific style for the list items that are inside unordered lists in our content editing pane. I've finished adding other styles to my editor style sheet, and I'm ready to test the editing pane to see if it matches the live page. Let's go to the edit screen. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. We have this blue background in the editing pane. I think I know where it comes from. Let's bring up Firebug, use the element selector, and let's just get in there and go to the element that contains all of the content, that body element we talked about earlier. Notice right here it has a background. That's what we're looking for. Where did this background come from? And indeed there's that bluish green color, and if I click here to turn that off, indeed that's the problem. So when we, in our style sheet, we added that body tag up here with the background, we just need to eliminate that because we don't want that background on our editing pane. In the live page, it's covered with other backgrounds, but that's not so in our editing pane. Now I've refreshed the edit post screen and the styles of the content